Dominic, thank you for inviting me to talk to you about what you're doing. Would you mind first maybe introducing yourself, please, and a little bit about what you do, where you come from?
Yep, not a problem. Yeah, my name's Dominic McKeown, and I'm a Belfast-born artist. And currently, I'm working at a Flex Art Studios based here in Belfast. So, um, to kind of start off, initially with my practice, I see that it kind of derives itself from being rough, harsh, and exposed, and it's kind of explored within this sculptural context. As I've always kind of gravitated towards process, especially within any medium I've worked in. Um, Throughout these kind of explorations of process, I've kind of realized that process has now become this fundamental cog within pushing myself and my practice forward. Within that, I find that there is like this considered element of free play in a sense. So it's kind of drawn from this curiosity. I have like this inquisitive interest in how a material acts when open workingly with it. Um, Again, having this in mind, I always want the materials to kind of be fast, expedient, and direct. So these are some of the words that I use as a kind of catalyst for the work to materialize and form throughout the processes within the studio. Um, Again, with that, alongside that, there's a high consideration of material values that I find ingrained within myself, which I try to project onto the practice. So I intend to explore materials normally that establish themselves within an architectural sensibility. So I'm attracted to the likes of concrete, metal, wood, and how they all have these different versatilities, but also having these preconception links to each of them. And I've kind of always liked this word, bastardized. So it's the meaning to like change something in such a way, usually by like adding elements that can either lower its quality or value. But I kind of take that word on, and I don't find that my work becomes lesser in any value or the quality is lowered. But I use I use this word because I find the materials are heavily linked with architecture, and when I use them, they kind of fail to represent what they're intended for. So it kind of becomes this distorted narrative of architecture in a sense, and this becomes like this kind of urban alchemy and how I create the work with the adding or subtracting of different substances. Um, where it's like always found the work being conceived from this brutal aesthetic. Architecture has always been an influence on my practice, I find, and it has always began from this perceived concerns that I have with my own built environment. So, like the principles of growing up within a city like Belfast, I find that it kind of has a lot of materialistic stress that it puts on itself, and has some of these mundane but really enticing features, which I find that has made me drift towards these materials, as I feel like they have some similar merits or qualities. Alongside that, the research and the British architecture and the kind of attraction to these crude, powerful structures that, in a sense, celebrates the rawness of unfinished concrete. I like to try and use this research as like taking on the construct of shaping an idea with materials. So I let these like brutal subjects and inherent materials throughout my practice. And again, it's all that I use these elements as like a sort of a pivot for what I do. But again, I hold on to this rational consequence of chance, as I find all these elements of process and research, when becoming intertwined with one another, can like evolve naturally, but also skew off into different trains of thought. So I think that the awareness becomes a regular occurrence within my natural feelings for sculpture, and it is something that always needs to be addressed within my everyday practice. So this is just some of the elements that I've been working on and I'm interested in. So
Okay, because now, in between the lockdowns, I think I got to see your work installed in the Mac,
yeah,
and it kind of really took on that space in this kind of environmental way. It just it really did take on and challenge the nature of the space. And there was something about your practice having a history in textiles, or a basis out of that. I'm looking forward to getting into the studio and seeing what you're working on now. Would you mind sharing a little bit of that?
yes. So currently I'm working on an upcoming show within Atypical. I won the graduate award, and
Okay.
it's going to be based on the same kind of concept. And I kind of find that the work influences itself from the previous work. So I've kind of took on these um, underlying issues that I kind of noticed within my previous work, and I'm now working towards that, but trying to show it within a kind of a different context and trying to evolve it more, in a sense.
Okay. And can we follow your work in between now and then? Do you have an online presence?
Yeah. So my Instagram is d.mckay.art, and you can find me on there. At the moment, my website is down, and I'm currently working on that. So hopefully, trying to get that sorted within the next few weeks, and that should be up and running again.
Well, I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks, it'll be more suited for me to coming in and actually meet you in the studio.
Yep, that would be great.
Well, Dominic, thanks very much for the insight, and look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thank you, Peter.